ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
It's catastrophic for our industry, and we really have nothing to compare it to just in terms of an event like this size, this magnitude.
Restaurant owners throwing in the towel. Industry experts projecting close to a third of restaurants in the state could close for good because of the pandemic. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. Our ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura has more on what the impact could be locally.
Waypoint Public in North Park is open, but it won't be for long.
We have put the business up for sale probably in the next few months. We're going to have to close the doors for good.
Co-owner John Pawnee says they're doing takeout and outdoor dining, but they just haven't been profitable since reopening during the pandemic.
Not even close. I mean, we're doing less than 10% of the sales that we normally do.
A lot of restaurants that we're learning have closed are doing it quietly. There's no signs that are posted, no banners saying we're closed for good.
Jot Condi is the head of the California Restaurant Association. When the pandemic started, the CRA projected about 20 to 30% of restaurants across the state would end up closing permanently.
This second shutdown, it's likely to be closer to 30%.
However, Condi believes the restaurant industry in San Diego County and Southern California could do better compared to the rest of the state because of better weather year-round. He says that's a benefit to restaurants able to do outdoor dining, somewhat lessening the blow.
It's definitely going to help Southern California more than, say, San Francisco. But, I think that independent operators, again, they're working against the clock.
Aside from Waypoint Public, Pawnee says he has another restaurant, though closing this one was a very difficult decision.
We've been open, it'll be 7 years in the next couple months here. And, these projects are, projects of the heart.
Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
Also tonight, San Diego police have received a number of complaints about hundreds of people gathering in Ocean Beach. Now, this was the scene near Abbott Street tonight. We're told that there was loud music and large crowds of people, many of them not wearing masks and openly defying the county's public health order. The OB Town Council is asking city and county leaders to do more to address those large crowds. Earlier today, Supervisor Nathan Fletcher said the county is aware of large gatherings there in OB, and the safety compliance team will work to address the issue.
Poway Unified School District announced it's going online to start the school year. The district sent out a letter to parents informing them that the restrictions put in place by the county made an in-person start impossible. The virtual school year will begin September 2nd. And a big helping hand for local businesses and places of worship that can no longer operate inside. Today, county supervisors voted to let churches and gyms operate at any of the county's 30 parks. Many of them don't have outdoor space and they had to close.
The child care providers in San Diego County can now apply for grants to help them stay in business. Local daycares and preschools, they've been hit hard by class size restrictions brought on by the pandemic. So county supervisors voted to spend $25 million in CARES money to help providers pay for expenses such as cleaning supplies and extra staff. This provider called in during that discussion
to make sure we have PPE supplies to keep everyone safe. We will also need to ensure we can provide professional sanitation in our facilities.
A recent study from UC Berkeley found almost 2/3 of child care programs in Southern California have seen a drop in income since March. The county spokesman says the typical grant will be around $5,000.
With colleges preparing for distance learning, students are stuck trying to figure out what to do with apartments they're no longer moving into. Our Team 10 investigator Melissa Masiha looks at the options as we deal with housing issues during a pandemic.
Nicole Amo was excited to help her daughter move to San Diego. They live in Hawaii. Her daughter planned to attend San Diego State as a third-year transfer.
She had heard that a lot of these apartments get filled up really quickly, so she wanted to get in on it quite early.
They found 5025 apartments near SDSU and signed a lease to move in later this month. As the pandemic got worse and universities started weighing between in-person or virtual learning, Nicole asked the complex if there was any flexibility.
Basically just said that at this time there's no other option.
Everyone is very stressed out.
Erin Rounds with the Tenants Legal Center said they've been flooded with calls.
Tenants do still have rights, and they have enhanced rights right now. And landlords need to be understanding and sympathetic and also follow the law.
She said it's critical families go over their contract. Rounds said there are limited circumstances where you can break a lease.
The sooner you let them know, the better the situation is going to be.
In Nicole's situation, emails from the assistant community manager in early July said they are unable to terminate her lease. Then late July, they emailed options: move in and pay the rent, allow the complex to find someone take over her daughter's spot and pay fees, or Nicole find someone on her own and pay a $350 reassignment payment.
I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Not knowing the area, she opted for the complex to find someone. She said she has to pay close to $2,000 up front, including more than $1,500 in rent difference.
I would think, maybe a fee, but for us to pay the difference, I just think that's kind of really harsh on their side.
I called the 5025 apartments and emailed several times. Nobody would answer my questions.
A lot of people are really having hard times, and I would think some students couldn't even afford to go back to college if their parents had lost their jobs or something.
Melissa Masiha, Team 10.
The Tenants Legal Center recommends contacting an attorney if you have questions about your lease and housing. And if you have a question you want our investigative unit to look into, just email us at tips@10news.com.
ABC 10 News is committed to helping San Diego families navigate the challenges of virtual learning. So join us this Friday at 7:30 for a Safely Back to School special. Educators, experts, and everyday parents will reveal the best ways to keep your child engaged, educated, healthy, and thriving.
Here are the latest coronavirus numbers. The county announced today another 348 cases this afternoon, bringing our total to 30,800. There were also 10 more deaths, bringing that total to 578.
Traffic is flowing once again after a deadly crash on the 163 freeway in Linda Vista. Sky 10 was over that scene today after a Toyota Tacoma slammed into the back of an 18-wheeler that was traveling at a slower speed. This happened around 3:45 this afternoon on northbound 163. The driver in the smaller truck was a 43-year-old man from Oceanside. He died at the scene. The driver of the semi is a 50-year-old man from Tijuana and was not hurt.
We are hearing from more San Diegans with family members in Lebanon dealing with the aftermath of the deadly explosion in Beirut. Our media partners at KPBS spoke with Mark Caban. He spent the early part of his life in Lebanon, and he says family members tell him the blast has completely devastated the capital city.
The children in my family are completely traumatized. I talked to my mom's first cousin yesterday. His wife is a nurse. She bravely rushed to the hospital to respond to the need. Their windows are blown up. Their businesses are blown up.
And the blast may have been caused by more than 2,700 tons of ammonium nitrate stored unsafely in a warehouse at the port. At least 135 people are dead, 5,000 are injured. Australia has pledged nearly $1.5 million for relief efforts in Lebanon.
It just comes down to safety and being able to walk and not be fearful that my children are going to be killed and while doing so.
Neighbors in Del Cerro say an intersection near their homes is a hotspot for accidents and speeding. The latest accident was a rollover on Monday night. As our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo shows us, those neighbors want the city to take action.
So I'm going to be filming this video because I want you to see something.
Denise Newell took this video in her neighborhood on Monday night after a car accident near her home near Madra Avenue and Del Cerro Boulevard.
Cars come flying down the street.
Newell has lived in the neighborhood for 7 years and says this isn't the first accident.
That's why I reached out to you because something needs to be done.
Emily Broadwater was involved in one of those accidents in 2018.
He didn't stop and he hit the right side of my minivan and it was total.
Newell says her dog was also hit by a speeding car. Her husband Chad no longer walks their children to school.
They just don't stop. And so I've had to grab my kids, pull them back. Neighbors have seen me and go, that was a close one.
Neighbors tell ABC 10 News they've reached out to the city asking that something be done, but say nothing has changed.
That there's nothing could be done. And I can tell you right now, Laura, that enough is enough. What are we waiting for tragedy to strike? There has to be something.
People just like to fly down, and it's just, it's a recipe for something bad to happen.
We did reach out to Councilmember Scott Sherman's office, who represents the district, and a spokesperson told us they have heard from residents and are working with city staff to fix the problem. Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.